What's going on, everybody? In today's video, I'm answering your questions regarding intermittent fasting. I put out a post asking for questions, and I got a lot of responses. And I'm going to go over those today in the video, as well as take some questions and do some live Q&A at the end. What's going on, everybody? It's Ryan Johnson from Intermittent Fasting with Ryan. And over the last 9 months, I've lost 60 pounds following an intermittent fasting routine. I'm sick and tired of yo-yo dieting. And if you are too and are new here and interested in sustainable weight loss strategies, be sure to click subscribe now. Hey, so before I get into the questions and take some live Q&As towards the end, I want to start with just my thoughts for the week. So I've been doing the live stream now for about 3 weeks, and just kind of wanted to share some of my experience and what I've been thinking about and what I've been up to throughout the week. So one of the things that I have been thinking about recently, and it's not a new thought, but I just kind of wanted to share it with you all, is the idea of being diligent and committing to slow and sustainable weight loss. So I have an obsessive personality. It's one of the reasons that I have been able to have success in diets in the past, short-term success. So again, I've lost and gained the same 40 to 60 pounds so many times I can't even keep count over the last 15 years. But I have a tendency to be obsessive. And the thing that I'm trying to be obsessive over right now is this idea of slow, sustainable progress. So I am not making a lot of wholesale changes, and I don't recommend that you do either in order to continue to see the weight loss. My recommendation is you stay committed to small changes, because over time, by building one habit at a time, over time is when we're going to see results. So I say it all the time, and I truly mean it. We're not looking to lose weight fast. We're looking to lose weight forever. So a lot of the questions that I have been getting are about how to have fast weight loss or how to lose weight quickly. And my standard response to that is going to be, hey, listen, you don't want to lose weight fast. I mean, trust me, you want to lose weight fast. Who doesn't? But what you really want is you want to find a way that you can be happy and healthy in your body for the long term. And what that's going to mean is we just have to be disciplined and wait for some of the results, because we need to make small changes in order to make those last. So I just kind of wanted to share those thoughts before I get into the questions. And then if you're joining this on the live stream, please be sure to leave your questions in the chat, and I'll answer those. And if you're watching this on the replay, if you have any questions that I don't cover today, leave those in the comments below, and I'll go back and answer those after the video is over. I'll answer any questions that you have. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into some of the questions that I got on the post. And the first one is, hey, can I still lose weight when I fast 18/8 or more, but still eating carbs like potatoes and normal rice? So yes, you can absolutely lose weight if you're fasting, doing an 18/6 or 16/8 and still eating things like carbs, potatoes, rice, all those kinds of things. Now, there is a caloric part of the equation to losing weight. So my recommendation is that you track your calories. Now, I'm actually changing kind of my philosophy. Again, this is a whole journey. The reason that we track calories is not to restrict our calories. So when I say I do calorie counting and intermittent fasting, I don't look for necessarily a calorie deficit in intermittent fasting, because that's combining two different means of weight loss. But you should track your calories so that after a period of a few weeks, you're not seeing the results you want. You can make changes. But as far as eating carbs and things like that, you absolutely can eat those and lose weight. I just recommend you track them so you know how much you are getting. But I have had plenty of success. I don't restrict any kinds of foods, and I don't recommend that you do either, because when you get into restriction, that's one of the things that can lead to binge eating and falling off down the road. Is the mental part of weight loss. Again, weight loss is more than the numbers. If it was simply the numbers, we could all do it, but there's a huge mental component to weight loss. Is if it was just about the numbers and restriction, by doing that, you can hurt your progress, because if you have certain kinds of foods that are off limits, once you eat one of those, you can feel that mental defeat and end up falling off. And the biggest thing is consistency. So that was a long answer to a short question, but yes, you can eat things like carbs, rice, potatoes, and still lose weight with fasting. So just track those and know where you're at. The next one was, the next question, kind of along the same vein, is it worth it if you are able to restrict calories? And the question here is intermittent fast, can you do intermittent fasting if you're able to restrict calories without intermittent fasting? So there are two schools of thoughts. One is intermittent fasting allows you to lose weight because you restrict the amount of time that you are eating, and it helps you reduce your overall calories because you are eating through less time throughout the portion of the day. But there's also some metabolic changes that happen in your body when your body goes through a certain period of non-eating. But if you're able to restrict calories without intermittent fasting, meaning you don't have to shorten your window and you're still able to reduce the number of calories that you eat to lose weight, there still is a benefit of intermittent fasting, and that's some of the health benefits associated with intermittent fasting. Things like improving your insulin sensitivity, as well as one of the biggest things with intermittent fasting is the autophagy phase of fasting. So once your body goes without food, it changes for every person, but generally that 16 to 20-hour mark, once you've gone that long without food, your body goes into a stage that's called autophagy, which means you go through some cellular regeneration. That's some sciencey words, but essentially your body starts recycling some of your broken down cells, and that is a huge health benefit, and you get that whether or not you are reducing your calories. So there's still a lot of health benefits associated with intermittent fasting. Another one was, the next question was, for 16/8, what if I exceed my time and do 17 hours? There's absolutely no issues with that. That's actually, if you were to look at my fasting schedule when I first started intermittent fasting, I was very diligent. I did the 16/8 method of fasting. I started eating at noon, I stopped eating at 8, and every day I kind of ate according to the clock. But I only did that for about the first month. After that, I started listening to my body more. And at the end of my 16 hours, if I'm not hungry, I'll push it out and maybe do a little further. Today's a great example of that. It's noon now. I stopped eating last night at about 6:30. So I hit my 16 hours, I think, at 10:30 this morning, but I wasn't hungry, so I'm going to push my fast out a little bit. I'm starting to get hungry now, so as soon as this live stream's over, I'm going to go to Chipotle and break my fast. But listen to your body more. There's no issues if you go over your fasting time. The same goes is if you need to break your fast early, we shouldn't be so diligent that we get down on ourselves. If you are hungry before you're supposed to start eating, I always recommend you have a little bit of water, you wait 30 minutes, and if you are still hungry, well, go ahead and eat something. The end result of this is we want to be able to listen to our bodies more. But yeah, there's no issues if you break your fast early. And we'll go ahead and jump into a question from the live stream. What's going on, Derek? How's everything? So the question is, should you exercise before, during, or after your eating window? Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. I personally exercise before my eating window. I prefer to train fasted. There are some that say there is an adjustment period. Your body has to get used to training fasted. But once you kind of get through that, there are definitely health benefits associated with training fasted. But at the end of the day, I think just with diet culture and everything in general, and I'm so guilty of this myself, is looking for the best perfect answer. And sometimes we let perfection be the enemy of action. So while training fasted, there is a lot of health benefits associated with that. the absolute best way to get the exercise in is whenever you can. Um, the only time that it makes a real difference in timing and things like that is when you get very close to your goal. I mean, probably within pounds of your goal weight. Um, Making changes like training fast or non-fasted may make the difference. But when you're earlier in your journey, exercising at all is going to make a much bigger impact than when you train specifically. So with that, I say, listen to your body, see what you feel like. There are benefits definitely associated with training fasted, but the most important thing is that you exercise consistently. Same goes for the type of workouts. I enjoy bodybuilding and weightlifting type of workouts, but the best exercise is the one that you're going to do. So find something that you enjoy doing and find a time that you're able to do it consistently. So I know for some people, they are not able to train fasted just because of their schedule. So if the only time that you can exercise is during your feeding window, well, that's better than not exercising at all. So, get that exercise in when you can. All right. The next question was, if I'm doing 14-8 or 14-10 with 3 sensible meals, will I have weight loss? And this kind of goes to everybody is a little bit different. My recommendation with this is you track everything. You track your food, you track your weight, and you see how your body responds to that shorter fasting period of that 14 hours. So fast for that period of time over, a few weeks. Track your meals just so that you know how much you're eating, and track your weight to see if you have any loss. And if you do have weight loss and are eating the 3 sensible meals in a 14-10, then continue. Because again, the most important thing, like I talked about at the beginning, the most important thing is adherence and sticking to it. So experiment. Everybody's a little different. You have to be comfortable with experimenting, changing, and slow, sustainable loss. But my recommendation is to give it a try. And then this next one was, I lost 8 pounds in the last 2 weeks on OMAD, but then nothing this week. What could be wrong? Nothing is wrong. You lost 8 pounds in the first 2 weeks. The scale may not have moved. I will say 2 things. The first is you do lose weight quicker in the beginning. I think I lost probably 10 pounds in the first 3 or 4 weeks. But then since then, I've been targeting, my pound a week. You do lose it quicker in the beginning. But the second thing is, if you haven't seen the weight change in only a week, you're not giving it enough time to see whether or not it's working. So I always recommend multiple forms of measurements. That's actually something that I got from Fast, Feast, Repeat. It's a book by Jen Stevens. She recommends 4 forms of measurement: the scale, progress photos, measurements, whether that's your waist, your neck, your arms, your legs. You actually measure and see how big those areas are. And then you have a set of clothing, a single article of clothing that you try on consistently. And you look for progress in any of the 4 areas. And as long as you're seeing progress in one of those 4 areas, then you are making progress. But for you specifically, you lost 8 pounds in the first 2 weeks and nothing in the 3rd week. Don't make any changes. Weight loss happens quicker at the beginning, and just stick with it. The thing is, we've got to be consistent and we've got to be committed to the long haul. You're not going to see the scale go down every week. I actually, I'm coming up on week 41, or I'm coming up on week 42 of 52. My plan was to lose 80 pounds in a year. We'll see how that goes. But over the last probably 10 weeks through the holidays, my weight has stayed fairly consistent. I'm finally back down on the downward trend, but through December, in the first part of January, my weight was pretty much plateaued. And there were some times where I would lose a half a pound, but another week where I'd gain a pound or 2 pounds. But because when you take a longer time horizon and look at what I've done over the course of a year, I'm still down 60 pounds. So don't be concerned that you haven't lost weight in a week. Just continue and stay diligent. Again, if you're joining me live, if you have any questions, please be sure to shoot those in the chat and I will answer those. The next one was, in the fasting stage, when do you not feel starving? So depending on how long you've been intermittent fasting for is going to change the answer to this question. Now, if you are brand new to intermittent fasting, there is an adjustment phase that your body has to go through to not be as hungry for you to get used to intermittent fasting. And that generally takes between 2 and 3 weeks. So if you're brand new to fasting, in the first few weeks, you are used to eating breakfast, you're used to eating snacks, and when you cut those out, you are going to have some hunger pangs associated with that. But once you make it through that, your body changes some of the hormone productions that cause hunger. And one of those hormones is called ghrelin. Ghrelin is a hormone that your body releases to signal to your brain that it's time to eat. Now, this is as a matter of survival. Our bodies release this hormone because if you haven't eaten, your body wants you to eat. So if you haven't had food in a little bit, it's going to release this ghrelin hormone that's going to signal hunger signals to try to drive you to eat. And in the first few weeks of fasting, you will get more hungry because your body is used to eating breakfast. So when 8 o'clock in the morning comes and you haven't eaten yet, your body starts increasing the production of ghrelin to tell you to eat. But once you make it through the first few weeks, your body actually reduces its production of ghrelin so that you are not hungry in those regular times that you were before, if that makes sense. So the first few weeks is what you have to make it through. Now, again, if you are having extreme hunger pains, extreme headaches, things like that, please get something to eat. But if you're just slightly discomforted, know that if you make it through the first few weeks, your body will adjust and you will stop being hungry for breakfast. That was the case for me today. I hadn't eaten since 6:30 last night. 10:30, 11:30 roll around. Don't even miss breakfast. Here it is, almost 12:30, and my body is just now starting to send me those hunger signals. That's because I usually break my fast between noon and 2 o'clock. So now my body has kind of adjusted and I'm getting those hunger signals that it's time to go and eat. The next question I got was, do most IFers do keto? And I can't speak for most. I can't speak for the entire community, but I will say there is a lot of people that do intermittent fasting that also do a ketogenic diet. And part of that is because during the fasting process, your body does release and produce ketones. And that's actually where the ketogenic diet started. It's a diet that simulates producing ketones, the same ones that you get when you're fasting. So, some people combine the two for better results. So yes, a lot of intermittent fasters do keto. I don't personally recommend it. I don't follow a ketogenic diet, but that's just because what I have found works for me, and I'm going to go ahead and say it and say that it's going to work for everybody. Is the diet or lifestyle that is going to work for you is the one that is sustainable. Intermittent fasting for me is sustainable in and of itself without changing the types of foods that I'm eating. So I don't follow a ketogenic diet. I don't say that there are no foods for me that are restricted. And that just kind of goes back to what I was talking about at the beginning. When you restrict a certain type of food or an entire category of food, we are all human. We all crave certain things. And if you crave something and give into that craving and have an off-limits food, you feel much worse about it. And a lot of the times that in and of itself will derail you. And I actually am changing my own language regarding cheat days. I'm going to stop referring to them as cheat days because, again, going back to weight loss is a mindset thing. To have a cheat day insinuates that you're eating something that is bad. And food is not inherently good or food is not inherently bad. Food is food, but when you label it as bad and then you eat it, that makes you feel bad about yourself. So I'm not going to call them cheat days anymore. I am definitely going to have days where I eat 7,000 calories because that's what I want to do on some days, but I'm not going to call it a cheat day. I'm going to call it a high calorie day. Uh, so again, that's a long answer to your short question of do IFers do keto? Some do, some don't. I say do what works for you, do what is sustainable. Don't pick a diet because you want to lose weight fast, because the goal isn't to lose weight fast, it's to lose weight forever. And then does fasting have to be done in the morning only, or can I stop eating at 2 and eat at 6 a.m.? Fasting absolutely does not have to be done in the morning only. When it comes to that, do what works best for your schedule. And that goes back to a little bit of what I was talking about before. Everybody is different. So you need to find a fasting schedule that works best for you, because the best fasting schedule and the one that's going to give you the most results is the one that you can stick to and the one that you can adhere to most. So absolutely experiment with stopping your feeding window at 2 in the afternoon. Fast for the rest of the day, go to bed, wake up and break your fast like that with breakfast. Experiment, try for a few weeks and see how your body adjusts. Any changes that you make to your diet or exercise, I always recommend you do commit to that. If you have made the decision to experiment with something, commit to it for 2 to 3 weeks. That way you can give it an honest try and see if it is or if it is not working. The other thing you can see during that 2 to 3 week period is how hard it is. This stuff should not be mentally hard, because if it's mentally hard, mentally tough, we're not going to be able to stick with it. And the way that we're going to lose weight forever is we find things that we can do forever. So it should not be tough. Living life should not be this tough. We can still lose weight. I'm not going to give you hope. I don't want you to lose hope. You can lose weight. But the thing that I want you to change your mindset on is how long it's going to take you to lose the weight. Commit to slow weight loss, and you will have forever weight loss. Can lemon or cucumber infused water ruin a fast? Lots of trains of thought. So, some people say, hey, nothing but the clean fast. Again, I just finished listening to Fast, Feast, Repeat on Audible by Jen Stevens a few weeks ago. She recommends the clean fast and the clean fast only, and she's got some strong arguments for it. And again, I'm actually kind of changing my thought process a little bit. I used to do dirty fasts where I would drink diet soda or something. Generally, after my feeding window closed, I would finish eating at 6 or 7 at night, and 8 or 9 o'clock at night, want a little something, and I'd usually have a diet soda. But after listening to Fast, Feast, Repeat, I am switching to a clean fast only. But, I mean, there have been a few times that I've had LaCroix over the last few weeks, flavored LaCroix during my fasting window. I don't get down on myself. And with that, I would say this goes back to everybody is a little bit different. Try it, see how your body responds, and then make the decision. So if you're intermittent fasting now and not adding lemon or cucumber to your water, depending on how long you've been doing it, let's say you've been doing it for 2 or 3 weeks, you know what kind of success and progress you're making. So chart that, know where you're at, make the change, try it for 2 to 3 weeks, and see how your body adapts. So the hard and fast rule is no, nothing but water, black coffee. But we're human, and we're all different. Everybody's body responds a little different. The reason they say that you can't have food or food flavored things during your fast, even if there's no calorie component associated with that, is you can have a metabolic response when your tongue tastes those food items, which will pull you out of the fasted state. But that's a science thing. That's not real life. We're talking here about real life. So I say try it, see how you respond, because we want something that's going to last forever. Okay, so if you've been getting value out of today's video, please be sure to leave it a like. Give it a share if you've gotten value out of today's video. And if you're new to intermittent fasting or interested in starting on your own weight loss journey, I'm going to leave some videos on the screen now. I encourage you to check those out. And remember, willpower is a limited resource. We're not looking to lose weight fast. We're looking to lose weight forever. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.